Ethan Blaze Alarms here, and today I'm going to show you how to wire a Simplex 4006. Alright, so this right here is a Simplex 4006, as you can see. Inside of it I have an expansion power supply module and an expansion zone card. Both of these are already connected up into the main panel, but there are still some things that we need to do with the expansion power supply, which I'll get into in a moment as well. And another thing I want to mention here is please do not make any changes to any wiring. Do not wire anything into it or anything like that while it is powered on at all. Do not. No, big no. Do not. Alright, so the first step, we're going to be wiring in your power supply. So, what we're going to need for that is a cord. Just like this. And this right here just came from a surge protector. I just cut an old surge protector up and took the cord. And on the other end of your wire, you're going to need to do this. You're going to need to remove the coating from the wire and then strip the other 3 wires. And then on your ground wire, you're going to need to crimp one of these on. So either of these will do, but you need to do one of these because we need to screw the ground wire onto this right here. I'm not sure how well you can see it from there, but yep, that's what we need to do. Alright, and again, as a reminder, never wire anything with your power on. We're going to not be wiring this with the power on, but first, if you have an expansion power supply module, you're going to need to take this and plug it in on the right side of these connectors, like that, underneath the screen of the panel. You can kind of see right there. That is what I have done. So that right there is the battery power going to the expansion power supply. That is all you need to do. You don't need to connect any batteries. Now if you also have an expansion power supply module, you're going to have these. Now these are going to have to go into the AC terminals along with your AC wires. So we're going to be doing that as well. So right here we have a black wire. That is our hot wire or our live wire, and that goes in on the left terminal labeled line. Might need to unscrew it a tiny bit. Oh, and also make sure you're going up through this hole in the bottom of the panel casing. That is not what I was doing just a moment ago, so now I'm doing that. You definitely are going to want to do that. Anyways, so the black wire goes in on the left, and if you have the expansion power supply module, the black wire coming from that will also go in on the left, and then just screw that in. And now it is important to make sure that there is no copper showing underneath this wire. This is important. If anything shorts with your power supply, it's not good. You will definitely trip your breaker and other bad things could happen. And you're also going to want to tug on your wires to make sure they are good. For example, that one was not good, so I need to redo it. Alright, and again, give them a little tug. Make sure they are in and good and they are not coming out, which is good. So now, on the right terminal, that's where our white wires go. These are our neutral wires, and the terminal is properly labeled neutral, so that one should be very easy. It's going to be exactly the same as our live wire or our hot wire, however you want to call it. Both are acceptable. Alright, now we'll give them a little tug, make sure that they are in and good. They are in and good. Not coming out. Give this one just one more to be sure. These wires absolutely must not come out under any circumstances. Alright, well now, let's get to the part where we take care of this ground wire here. If you have one of these U-shaped crimps, you can just put it underneath the little screw here, or the little bolt. And if it is a circular one, you have to take this off, put it on, and then put this over it. But you just gotta screw this down to screw the ground wire to there. And that's good. for now. Let me grab a quick tool. Alrighty, and as long as our ground is secured in there, which it most certainly is, again, make sure that there is 0 copper showing underneath these screw terminals. Now I'm about to plug it in, and again, warning, don't wire anything while the system is plugged in, and especially do not touch these 2 terminals right there. You will get an electric shock and it will not be fun. So I'm going to plug it in now. I'm going to turn the power on. Nothing blew up, so that means I did everything right. Alright, we're going to get a crap ton of troubles here because I've got nothing. Yeah, we've got right now 16 troubles. So we have NAC 1 horns, NAC 2 strobes, NAC 3 smart sync, NAC 4 special output, those are the 4 NACs, expansion power supply battery, battery depleted, zone 1, zone 2, all the zones up to zone 10. And I'm surprised we don't have a time and date trouble, but it's probably because, I don't know. The time and date is definitely not right on this, right? Wait, I can just do that through function. Display time. Yeah, the time is not right. But anyways, yeah. So now that's what you should see. And you're going to have a different number of troubles depending on what other devices you have connected. For example, I have this expansion zone module. If I didn't have that, I'm going to have 5 less troubles than I do right now. And I've also got the expansion power supply module. But depending on what modules you have, those are going to be what troubles you get. And also depending on other settings, such as if you have your phone lines connected and configured in the panel, that's also going to give troubles depending on your setup. Alright, so now that we know that the panel boots up, we can shut it down. Just like that. So now, let's get our other power source connected. So if you have actual batteries, this is how you would connect them, is with this wire right here. It's a little battery connector, and it would plug in to the battery terminals, which are going to be right to the left of the ones for the expansion power supply. Now, if you do have batteries, you would connect up your batteries to this. If you do not have batteries, however, do not do this in a public building whatsoever. This is definitely against code, but you can take a wire coming from the positive battery, which is going to be the red one. You can take a wire and just feed it behind the panel up to the top, and you can put it into your auxiliary 24 volt power supply right there, the one that's labeled 24V in this terminal set. So what that does is it tricks the panel into thinking that there is battery connected when there isn't, so it clears the battery trouble and the expansion power supply battery trouble. Alright, so now let's wire in some zones. So zone 1 for me is my smoke detector up here. And this is the zone 1 wire. So once you've got your devices connected, all you need to do to wire them into the panel, let me set you down. Alright, so coming from this smoke detector, I have a positive wire and a negative wire. The positive wire for zone 1 is just going to go into the spot that is labeled IDC1 on the panel, and the negative wire is going to go into the negative IDC1. Positive on the left, negative on the right. And I forgot to mention this while doing the auxiliary power wire, but just like the AC power wires, you should give them a little tug right after connecting them to make sure that they are secure and they are not coming out. Okay, so with this panel, something to keep in mind is you need to terminate zones with, unless you're using Class A, with one of these. This is a 3.3 kilo ohm resistor with the color bands orange, orange, red. So yep, orange, orange, red. These are going to be terminating zones. And additionally, you're also going to put them on unused zones. So on my current setup, 8, 9, and 10 are not used. So I put this one on 8. Put another one on 9. And then finally, one more into 10. Alright, and there we go. So, I don't need to put any resistors on any of the other devices I'm going to connect in because I already have them in. This video is on the panel itself. I'm not going to be showing you how to wire specific devices like an i3 or a pulsation to the panel. So, this video hopes that you already know how to do that. If you don't, there are other videos online. I'll probably make one as well at some point. But anyways, now that we have that done, let's get our other zones in place. And in case you're wondering what wire I'm using, I am using Penn West FPL or fire alarm wire. So this is stuff that's designed for fire alarm systems. And I just realized you could not see me connect that into zone 3. I do apologize for that. Yeah, but anyways. So yeah, this is proper fire alarm wire. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to get some for yourself. Alright, and now we have 7 zones connected into the fire alarm system. So, we're going to power it on, and what we should see is, well, I'm either going to see what I know we should see, or I'm not going to see what I know we should see. We'll find out in just a moment. Yep, so we're going to begin with a bunch of troubles as expected, with the 4 NACs. We're still going to have those. We should not have any battery trouble, which we do not. I'm going to wait to see if any zone troubles pop up, which it doesn't look like it. So that is good. Now, if you boot up the system and this happens, that means that something is done incorrectly, or if you have trouble. So in this case here, if we have a fire alarm, we should first go to it on the acknowledge list and then hit enter and then hit next, and you should see right there stat equals and then whatever the status of that circuit is. If it says short, SHRT, that means something is shorted on that circuit, which is what triggered the alarm, which is pretty much just what a pulsation does. So you can see if I reset that, it goes right back to normal. If it says open, and this also applies on troubles. So if you have a trouble, you can hit enter and then hit next to see the status of that device. If it says open, like it does for this NAC, then that means that it's not seeing a resistor. So that's how you deal with any unexpected troubles. But in my case, I have the 4 NAC troubles, and that should be it that you should have. I'm going to clear that fire alarm real quick. Alright, so now I'm going to shut down the panel one more time because we need to get some resistors on the NACs, and I'm also going to connect up one notification appliance. So, one moment please. Alright, so the notification appliance I'm going to use for this is a Simplex 4903 9238, and this is going to be the only notification appliance on the system. So I'm going to get that mounted on the wall. Give me just one moment. Alright, and with that device mounted, I am going to wire these into the NACs. So right here I have my strobe wire, And this is going to be going into NAC 2. So now NAC 2 requires a 10 kilo ohm resistor at the end of the line, similar to, I would love it if the camera would focus on that, but for some reason it's not going to, even if I turn on manual focusing. So, but anyways, it is a 10 kilo ohm resistor. What if I hold it? Oh well. It's got the brown, black, and orange bands. And that is similar to zones, can go on the end of the lines for NACs. And if you have unused NACs, they're going to go directly in the terminals. So I have both resistors on that alarm I just mounted. So I just got to put these into NAC 3 and NAC 4. So if you're using resistors, you're going to want to put your NAC wires into NAC and then B positive and B negative, because we're wiring it as class B with a resistor. If you're wiring it as class A, which I'll actually wire NAC 4 as class A for demonstration, you're going to do it differently. Alright, so using a resistor, that is how we have NAC 3 wire. We're going to do NAC 4 as class A. So that is going to involve one wire going into B positive on one side, and then going to whatever alarms you got, and then a return wire going into A positive. Alright, and since I have no notification appliances on this NAC, I'm just returning it directly into the class A return. Alright, so now with hobbyists, I would never recommend actually using class A wiring, simply because it's just going to use so many wires. It's just going to use so much more wire to connect your final device back to the fire alarm panel, and it's just much easier to just use a resistor. However, in a commercial environment, class A might be helpful because then it gives the panel another method to power devices later in a line if a line were to break or something. So class A can have its uses there, but for hobbyists, no, class B is definitely better, for sure. Alright, now I'm going to wire in my things as class B into the NACs, so give me just a moment to do that. Okay, so now that we have that wired in, I am going to turn on the alarm panel. And we have no troubles. So everything is normal here, and if I go into control view for the NACs now, I can see here NAC 1 is normal. I don't know how well you can see that, but NAC 1 normal, NAC 2 also shows up normal as expected, and the NAC 4, which is wired as class A, will also show up normal because I have my class A wired correctly. So yeah, so I never do class A again. I don't recommend it. It's just much easier to use resistors. But now I'm going to get into the basic operation of the actual panel and basic programming. So give me just 1 second for that. Alright, so for this, I've taken my phone off the tripod now. So first, we're going to want to log in. And to do that, we're going to go to menu, hit next, and then go to where it says login/log out. Hit enter again, and you're going to want to enter your level 4 passcode, which the default is 4000. Enter. You're going to get a system trouble when you log into level 4. That is service mode. That is to tell you that is because you've logged into level 4. That is what service mode is. So now we've got a whole bunch of new options here in the menu. The one we want to go to is called programming. You're going to want to hit enter. And first time you're using this, you might want to do an auto program as well. so that way the panel knows everything, and then you can go back to do this. But now we're going to go to points. We're going to go down to NAC, and then we're going to select whatever NAC we want to change, which in this case is going to be NAC 1, and then function. S signal means it is on until silence. And the options here are S signal, which is on until silence, R signal, on until reset, trouble, on when there are troubles, supervisory, on when there's a supervisory, Q alert, which is basically just Simplex Smart Sync, utility, that's something else, wheelock, which is just wheelock sync, and then we're back to S signal. And then coding options, temporal, sync H, which is just smart sync for strobes only. If you set it to that, it's strobes only, smart sync. Steady, continuous, 20 BPM, 120 BPM, and then back to temporal. So I'm going to set this as temporal, confirm, and it says operation complete. There's a bug where sometimes it doesn't say operation complete, but oh well. Now we can hit exit to go back, hit next to select the next NAC. All right, we're going to hit enter and function. Now this one is set to R signal because it's strobes, so they should stay on when I silence the system. And it is also set to steady. So continuous, that is good. Let's back out of this here and let's head back to our IDCs, which are our zones. Go down to edit. And here you can edit your zones, so you can set them up however you'd like. I'll go into more details about this in my video on programming this panel, which will be recorded at some point in the near future as well. But I'll go into more detail in that video. But there's a bunch of options here, so feel free to go through and pick whatever one you want for your zones. And then when you're done, you can keep hitting exit until this shows up. You can go over to save, hit enter, and then hit enter again to save. The panel will then reboot. And now you're going to get a time and date trouble. So to fix that, we're going to go to menu. You are going to have to usually log in to level 2, which I'm just going to do right now. The default code for that is 2000. And then scroll down to time/date, hit enter, and then you set the time and date. Let me get the current time and date real quick. All right, it is June 10 at 2:03 p.m. So 2:03 June 10th, and enter. Now that is going to clear our troubles, so everything is all good and system is normal now. Alright, so let's actually, let me first put on some ear protection. I'll be right back. Alright, so now I'm going to go into the menu, and when logged into level 3, I believe, is how you get to Walktest. Default code is 3000. I might have it changed from the default. I don't know. I can access it with level 2, but you might need level 3. I can't remember for sure if that's the default. You can change access levels for things like that in the programming menu, and I'll get to that in that programming video as well. But let's enable Walktest. So for that, we're going to want to set this to on, and then we're going to want to go over to where it says silence. We're going to want to set that to signal, and we're going to want to hit enter and confirm. Walktest updated. We're going to want to acknowledge that trouble. There. So now what on does is it turns it on. I'm sure you can probably figure out. And setting it to signal just means that the alarms will sound. So let's test out our pulsations here. So this is my zone 4 spot. Perfect. Zone 5. Here's my zone 6 spot. Alright, let me move the tripod out of the way. zone 7 spot. Sometimes it does take a moment. Sometimes you might need to close it and reopen it. It does do that sometimes, depending on how, yeah. Yeah, so if that happens, don't worry. Just retry it again. That usually happens if the panel is in the process of resetting when you tried to activate that. The panel does reset every once in a while, so things like smoke detectors will reset and stuff. So something to keep in mind. And let me also grab something to test the smoke detector with. All right. And now for testing our unused zones, we can just take a little jumper wire and connect them directly across. I definitely did just jump there. All right, so the reason why that did those 2 quick pulses is because I actually activated it twice. If you activate the same zone twice in a row, it's going to do 2 quick pulses. So, yep. Anyways, let's try not to jump this time when I do 9. Might be resetting right now. I will also say using a jumper wire is not the easiest thing here when holding a camera, but there it goes. I must have activated it twice as well, again, huh? That's annoying. All right, and now for zone 10. I'd imagine it'd be easier to test this with a thicker wire. This is not going the best. I'm just trying to demonstrate this. It's not easy to do one-handed, I will say. And if all goes well, it'll go off. And now if you have a 10th zone, something to keep in mind is it will also give a 0 code. All right, so yeah, that 0 code is the double pulses I was talking about earlier. And now it does that to indicate a 10. Anyways, we know our devices work. We know that works. Let's disable Walktest. To do that, we go back into Walktest and we hit that, set that to not 0, off. It's going to do a whole bunch of stuff, and then you just close out of that. And then, bam, back to system normal. So now, let's activate the system for real. All right. So there we go. So that is what should happen. All right. So now this tutorial video is done. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe as well. If you have any other additional questions as well or things that you would like answered, do let me know in the comments below. And I'm also going to be making more videos on this panel, more tutorial videos. So if you would like to see those, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Most of my viewers are not subscribed, so if you would consider subscribing, that would be amazing. Thank you very much as well, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, everyone. Bye.